figure out how to
So, yeah.
explain what a release cut was. And I wrote down pretty much what I'm gonna say, but I also found it in this book.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a release cut, sometimes it's called a relief cut.
Which is
There's
what
no
I tend to
difference.
say.
It doesn't matter. They are made into your fabric to allow the fabric to then go around an obstacle. The obstacle is the word that I like. And you don't want it to pinch up, you just want it to go around the obstacle and just lay beautifully. It's very nice to have enough to fold under so your raw edges are captured
Mm-hmm.
in. If you cut and you don't have enough to fold under, that's okay. We're
It's
not
usually
telling.
in a place that you can't see anything.
Exactly. The other thing about, and you brought this up, the other thing about release cuts that are, it's so important, you can't just blind cut. You need to see, you need to visualize what you're trying to go around. So the hardest place, I think, is in the inside back, where the inside arm meets the inside back. You can't really see that rail.
Well,
But
like on
if you
that-
move padding aside,
Yeah.
I mean, I take the inside back off so I can see where the inside arm goes.
Mhm.
Makes for much better.
You don't do it
relief
just by
cut.
feel. Some
If
people
I
do
have
just
to.
by feel. Okay.
If I have to. But if I can move it aside and just see it, oh, okay, it's that piece of wood is at this angle or whatever,
Mhm.
that helps.
So you're talking about like you took this back off.
Mhm.
That's what
I
you-
mean, I
you
take the
took
stuffing,
whole-
like on a wing back,
Okay.
I don't unstaple the stuffing, the foam at the top, I fold it back, it's
Okay.
out of my way. So sometimes you can't, and when you cannot visualize, then you slide your hand in over the pipe, over the fabric, and touch the corner of that,
We can assume that's the corner.
yeah, touch the corner with your finger. You're gonna fold the extra fabric back. And then, okay, now I know where my hand is, you know? Now I know I need to cut down to where my.
With that folded back fabric.
Yeah, on the
That's
folded
the
back
hinge
fabric.
method I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
and I'm gonna show you in just a minute how to do it over there. But this book is a huge amount of help. Have you seen it?
Love that book. I have
It is so good
Love it.
because it gives you really good pictures
Mm-hmm.
of different ways of doing that. And I've credited her for some of my stuff I'm saying. But there's two kinds of release cuts. There are T cuts and there are Y cuts. So in a situation, a T cut goes straight down to the corner of a piece
Yeah.
of wood.
Okay.
Straight down to a corner, that's a T, this is the top of the T. So this is a T cut. So you're gonna just cut straight down, and that way the leftover, what you've cut, is gonna fold and go to both sides. A Y cut, or a chicken foot, we often call it a chicken foot, you're going down and you're hitting the flat part of a piece of wood. So you can't just cut to one corner, you would still have the bulk. So you cut down, and then you stop about 1.5 inches before the flat part of the wood, and then cut your chicken foot to the corner. Now what happens when you have cut, and you've cut it wide to each corner, but it's not quite far enough? What do you do then? Where you have cut to the width of the corners, but you're a little shy, because we only do baby cuts, right? You know, 1/2 inch at a time at most. So in a case like that, you would come straight down.
Okay. Okay, so you're at the width, But you just
You're at the
haven't,
width,
you
you're just,
haven't
you
connected.
haven't, you can't keep cutting out,
Right, because it's gonna,
cause then it's too
then you've
big.
got openings on
Yeah, so there's a lot of T-cuts on your, or T-cuts, release cuts on your dust cover.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no excuse to not have a nice, neat T-cut, or release cut on your dust cover. Where it doesn't show, you know, if you cut a little too far, or a little, it's almost always fixable. Almost. Now on your, I've discovered on the inside back, your cuts don't come from below up, they come from the outside in to that rail at the bottom. And when I stopped going up with them, I got much better at it.
You know, that.
And I'm not sure why, but,
That Broadway, which one?
yeah, Upholstery on Broadway.
He does, yeah, he shows that very,
Mhm.
very well.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good one to watch. Upholstery on Broadway. I love his how to spit tacks.
Yeah.
So any YouTube videos by Cynthia Bliskachek, the funky little chair,
Yeah.
those are gonna be trustworthy. Upholstery on Broadway is great. There's some other ones that aren't, you know, they just
What was
not,
it?
or the, she left the business,
Mhm.
actually, she's kinda getting back into it now. She sold most of her videos to the Workroom channel. You can trust anything
All right,
from the
now
Workroom
see, I have
channel.
been on the Workroom, and I don't like them nearly as well as Upholstery on Broadway.
But they have some of her stuff,
Okay,
so,
okay.
and some of it's free, a lot of it's free, some of
Right.
it you pay
Okay.
to take a course, you know.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
what I want you to do is to practice, and I'm gonna show you, let me get one of these. And I want one of these. And I know this is not something, you wanna grab me a stapler, I have them ready to go. When you're putting your dust cover on, it's always nice on the front edge of your piece of furniture to blind staple it in place. Not necessary, you don't have to do it, I don't always do it. If it has, you know, if it's a chair that has a shape to the bottom, don't do it, don't worry about it. But I usually start it this way.
What is blind staple?
Blind? What?
When you roll it back.
You fold it back
When,
over itself.
instead of just
Oh.
stapling it straight down, you're gonna fold it back. And then, when you blind staple, you always use your tack strip. Oh, come on,
Want some scissors?
yeah.
I have these too. I know those are good, I just bought them.
Well, I don't wanna use them on the cardboard.
Oh, I don't care, they're for my
No?
kitchen and whatever.
Okay. So then, you're gonna fold it back.
You got a
And you get
nice
this
straight.
beautiful clean edge. And we'll talk more about paper tack in a little bit.
Good.
I'm gonna cut off some of my extra. And it's really important when you're doing release cuts to stabilize your fabric. And we say north, south, east, west. Put a staple in, cause if the fabric isn't stabilized, isn't attached to the frame, where you won't know which part of the fabric needs to have the relief cut. So I'm actually gonna turn this under. So I've got my south stapled, and I'm just gonna, I think I'll just put one in the middle. Really nice to use chalk. I think we better do these first, because it's kind of pulling. So I put my hand in there. I'm holding it up against, I can see where the center is. And actually, it's kind of nice to just go ahead and mark all the way down to the center of that flat piece of wood, and then come back and do your chicken foot to the corner. that was all wrong.
I did the wrong angle, but you get the idea.
Well,
And
from here
that's-
doesn't look like.
Looks better than mine, no, better than my work, I do.
So if it's hanging
What
up
was the wrong angle on it?
here,
Okay.
Oh, I see where you.
see where it's hanging up around this corner? That just tells me it needs a tiny bit more. There.
This folds under. There you go.
Oh, see, that's so nice and smooth. Look at this.
So it needs to be smooth.
Look how nice and flat.
Now, what I wished I'd done, I have a lot here and not enough here. So because this is at an angle, maybe I should have come over
Straight
a little
in,
bit.
almost like.
Well,
No, it wouldn't be, it would
but
be.
a little, by doing this, and I really highly recommend getting scrap fabric and practicing when you have to do a release.
This
Just
stuff,
practice and like, oh yeah, I need to go over.
Now you can get heavy duty stuff
Yeah.
that's a little bit more felty. You can order that from upholstery supply places.
Dust cover, come on.
I use
Yeah.
old scrap fabric too. but
Right,
that's just me.
right.
Yes.
If
So,
it looks good. if the color looks
Sometimes
good.
in an antique chair, you have an arm that comes up and does this. Remember, you know those arms?
Oh, yeah.
How do you cut your release cuts for that? Well, you can't, so you want, I didn't carve this out like I wish I could have. But if I just go to the middle and do this, that might work for this.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would've gone with the two corners.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So yeah, that is.
But again, look how smooth that is.
This is gonna work.
So you just kind of have to think about it and
And go
see.
slow.
And
Yeah.
especially on something like this, I think practicing, getting just a piece of fabric and just trying it. Cause
Right.
like, if this were carved out,
Yeah.
like here, and this piece needed to come around and
Then you can
meet,
poke it straight through.
well, then
Wouldn't-
you have to cut a little bit further up.
Oh, all right, I'm confused.
So that you have more on this side that will then fold. Fold back
Yeah.
around
Uh-huh.
and then. Yes. So, and then on the T.
So we
Straight
gotta
down.
have our chalk.
Have your chalk. Now, I'm gonna show you, see that? Perfect. And then this I would just cut and fold
Roll in, yeah.
under. Let me show you a different way to do
What do you need?
with the regulator.
Hand
The
it in.
regulator method. Doesn't work on all fabrics because some fabrics, when you poke the regulator in, it doesn't leave a hole. But if you don't like chalk, you can always, okay, you tuck your fabric up there, make sure it's nice and smooth, and then you poke your regulator in. Okay, I feel the corner, I'm gonna go all the way in and out. I feel this corner, all the way in and out. Now, I know exactly where I need to cut to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do this.
So because your holes are your guide, yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
You're gonna go right down to the hole.
And look at that.
And look at that. So there's the regulator, there's the chalk. But it,
It's
I mean-
practice. It's
So
practice.
why did you draw this like this, outer edges and then in?
because I wanted to demonstrate that, okay, let me do it on this one.
Because the other ones you cut, always cut your chicken foot.
Right. So if I am cutting a chicken foot and I accidentally cut it just a little bit shy of the corners, me tell you, professionals chalk their line. They don't just go, I mean, there are times you can. It's just safer. You use the chalk, use the, okay, so here, I cut it, they're at the level of the, but I didn't cut it close enough in. So I can't just keep cutting.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Gotcha.
cut straight in.
Okay.
So that's how to fix a cut that's not quite what you want.
See, that's just.
Is that
awesome.
not a little bit
Golly.
safer to do it that way to start
It
with?
could be.
Okay.
If you can't see where you're cutting though, that's harder to do.
Fantastic
The other
way to
thing
practice.
I'm gonna say about tack strip, paper tack, and the bottom of your chair is, like on yours, I noticed, the piping folds a
I was
little
gonna
bit.
ask you about it. Yes, ma'am. You're the one
So-
that said you use tack strip, paper tack.
If, before you put on your dust cover, you staple
Yes.
paper tack
And
there.
that holds it
takes 3
firm.
minutes.
I
mean,
couldn't
it's
remember it, but
not
I was.
a
I
big
did.
deal.
Yes.
That
It
makes
costs 2 cents and, you know, but look, you cannot,
Okay.
and then you put your dust cover on top of that. Yes, it's an extra step, it's worth it.
Yes, it is.
You just get a better product.
Before, okay, you put it on after.
Put the piping on, then the paper tack, then the dust cover. And there are times that I have cut this in half, made it smaller. The other thing to remember paper tack, the other time to remember it, is if you have a frame where instead of a nice edge, it's damaged. It's either broken off or, we come across that all the time.
It's like been hammered in or something.
Hammered
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
If you will put paper tack over that flaw, just staple it in place a couple times, you've got a nice straight edge again.
She knows how to make you feel really stupid, doesn't she?
No, sorry.
But that makes
Over
perfect
flaw
sense.
edge
But
and
it
wood.
just, huh?
Over flaw edge and wood.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, over a damaged edge
That
in the
makes
wood.
that makes such
Just-
good sense.
Yes,
And
it does.
This is our friend.
It is, it's cheap, it's a good friend.
That's our cure-all.
I've even seen it in furniture where there's a difference in height. So like here, this comes and ends, but this is a different height. I've seen it like 3 or 4 pieces of this layered up and stapled to where you have a smooth run. So you can bridge different heights or, you know, in your wood by
Yeah.
using your paper tack.
Yeah.
So, it's a great little, yeah, exactly. So you could put, I might need 2 or 3 of them to make that smooth. And then you can taper them off, you know, one ends before the other and you
But
bridge
don't
that
you use
gap.
paper?
Practice your release cuts and then we'll talk in depth about paper tack or all the tack strips, okay?